So of course, with a new weekend upon us, we have a couple of fragrances from the Dua brand that are brand new. I believe both of these were released in the last weekend's promotion, but I was just a little bit late to the party, if you will. So it took me an extra week of testing to really understand them thoroughly. We have a quadbrid, which is basically a hybrid of 4 different fragrances, 2 designer, 2 niche, and then we have an original creation. I do have to look at the label because these names end up being quite long. This is Imagine Poseidon Chilling at the Pacific with Fire God, and then we also have a pistachio-based gourmand called Pistachio Cream Delight. I'm excited to tell you about both of these fragrances in today's double feature, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I give you my thoughts on these 2 brand new releases from the Dua brand, this one is a quadbrid or a hybrid with 4 fragrances, and then we do have an original as well. I want to start the video off first by saying that if you're a fan of fragrance related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit that neighboring bell icon and also give this video a thumbs up for the algorithm. It would really mean a lot to me. So let's go ahead and talk about the hybrid first. So this is a quadbrid, right? That's their own sort of neologism. This is a combination of 4 fragrances. So it's called Imagine Poseidon Chilling at the Pacific with Fire God. So you have 2 Louis Vuitton fragrances. You have Imagination, which is kind of like this ginger citron tea fragrance. You also have Pacific Chill, which is this very sort of a zesty, minty and fig type of a fragrance. I've also done a video on that as well as their inspiration of that. And then you have God of Fire, which is an inspiration of Stefan Humbert Lucas, and then you have Poseidon, which is their take on Creed's Aventus. So you have a quadbrid, you have an original. This one is a bit more on the fresh side of things. This one is a bit more on the warm side of things. Of course, great for the autumn and winter time, given the fact that it is a gourmand and it has this sort of a chocolatey, vanilla, tonka bean, musky, amber type of a thing happening in there with some milky notes as well. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on the smell and performance of both of these, but let's take a quick look at the presentation first. So the first fragrance that we're going to start with is the quadbrid. So like I said, you're going to get ginger and citron and tea from their take of Imagination by Louis Vuitton. Pacific Chill is a lot of mint. Poseidon, which is Creed Aventus, is a lot of pineapple and birch with a touch of vanilla as well. And God of Fire is going to have this sort of a mango lemon type of a vibe with some woodsy notes in there as well. So as soon as you spray this one on, the first thing that I get stronger than anything else, right, and it's 4 different fragrances kind of combined into one, is I get the mint, right? So Pacific Chill, there's a lot of mint, and I believe it's spearmint, right? I can usually tell the difference between spearmint and peppermint, and of course there's a lot of other mentholated ingredients out there like eucalyptus or even bay leaf, and you know, clove also contains a bit of eugenol, which has this bright tone to it, but I do get a lot of spearmint. So it opens up very bright, very zesty, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a great summertime type of a fragrance. Now, when I let it settle down, and I'm talking about 10, 15, 20 minutes, the Poseidon started to come out. So I started to get some of those Creed Aventus influences in there, and you know what? The pineapple is in there, but it's made a bit more exotic because of their God of Fire inspiration that's kind of working into this. So it starts off with an overdose of mint, and then you kind of have this balance of like pineapple and mango, and it's juicy, it's succulent, it is fruity, it's kind of flirty, and then it dries down to the smooth, woodsy tea vibe. So you have an abundance of citrus. You have the citron, you have the bergamot, you have lemon, you have a lot of different citrus fruits happening in the opening, but you're also going to get like the smooth, woodsy, musky base. So I'm talking, this is a great office fragrance. This is great for lounging around the house. This is great for casual wear, but because of that refined quality and that addictive nature to it, I suppose this is great for a formal occasion as well. So here we're talking about one of the more versatile Dua fragrances, which I think is something that's kind of hard to establish, especially when you're dealing with a hybrid, especially one of this proportion with 4 different fragrances kind of combined into one. It is awesome. You must be a fan of mint, and you must be a fan of Creed Aventus. So if you're looking for a fruitier, mintier Aventus, check out this Quade. I'm not going to attempt the name again. The next fragrance is a pistachio-based gourmand. It's called Pistachio Cream Delight. And this is their warm, milky, pistachio, vanilla, chocolatey, tonka bean, amber, musk type of a fragrance. So this opens up with that powdery pistachio, vanilla, cocoa type of a vibe. And a part of it, you know, it's funny, in the note breakdown it says milky notes. It actually does smell a tad bit butyric. And what I mean by that is it kind of smells like butter. Right? So it has this sort of buttery personality, but it doesn't smell like buttered popcorn, right? There's a lot of other gourmand ingredients in here that really steal the show, and you're like, oh, a little vanilla, a little chocolate, a little this, a little that. So once you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, I suppose there is something butyric in here. Now the amber, I'm not getting much of that. I'm not getting, maybe if it's a vanilla dominated amber accord, sure. The musk, you know, it's kind of overshadowed by the pistachio and the other gourmand notes, because I smell this and I'm like, oh, this smells so good. You know, if you think of fragrances like Belgian Choco Truffle or Belgian Chocolate Truffle, I think it's called, also by the Dua brand, which is an original creation, this one has elements of that. It has that similar powdery chocolate vibe, and it's a similar powdery chocolate vibe that I would also get in something like a Mancera's Chocolate Greedy. So if you can imagine almost layering Yum Pistachio Gelato by Kayali, which they don't have an inspiration of, by the way, but if you can imagine layering something like that with Chocolate Greedy by Montal, that's pretty much what you're gonna get here, which is really interesting. And I own both of those fragrances. I really enjoy wearing both of them. I think they're both fall and winter staples. So this one is going to be a dumb reach, right? It's going to be an effortless choice. It's a great gourmand and one that I look forward to wearing quite a bit. And then of course here you have a super versatile hybrid. So you can't go wrong no matter which one you go for. However, if you're looking for something on the darker side of things, go with the original. If you're looking for something more office appropriate, something brighter, zestier, more mint, of course, go with the hybrid. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, well, here you have two fragrances which are fairly unique. Of course, the original is far more unique than the hybrid, because the hybrid, you do have elements of those other fragrances that I mentioned, but the overall smell for both of them are incredibly pleasant. No rough edges, none of them are really dark or animalic, or they don't push any boundaries or anything like that. Longevity on both of them. So I have to be honest with you, the hybrid gave me better projection, but the original gave me more subtle projection, but better longevity. So I would say the longevity for the original is about 10 hours. The hybrid is about 8. But for the projection, the hybrid radiated beyond an arm's length for about an hour and a half. The original within an arm's length for about an hour. They both became an elbow's length scent right around hour 6. And like I said, the original, slightly better longevity, but the performance of the hybrid was better. In terms of the versatility, I covered the versatility on the hybrid. And of course, I do find that the original is better for the colder weather, and it's something that I would wear more on a date night or a night out or something like that, as opposed to the office. Presentation, you know my thoughts on it. My final verdict is two wonderful fragrances from the Dua brand. I hope you have the opportunity to try both of these fragrances. I know they do have the Dua Solo option on their website where you can get a 10 ml of select fragrances. Hopefully these are available in that option so that you can commit to purchasing a smaller size before you get the 30 ml, but the prices are affordable anyway, especially since they have these perpetual discounts on there. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit the bell and give this video a thumbs up. Thanks again for watching. Love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow with a new episode. Bye.